When I was 15, I volunteered to help clean out the old Eastbrook High School. It had been abandoned for years, left to rot after a fire-damaged part of the second floor. The town whispered about it. Strange sounds, shadows moving where no one should be, kids claiming they heard voices when passing by. The first day I stepped inside, I felt it. The air was thick and musty, with a faint smell of smoke lingering in corners. Broken lockers lined the hallways, their doors swinging slowly in the draft. My footsteps echoed unnaturally, even though I was alone. I was working near the library when I heard it. A soft, almost childlike whisper. "Don't go, don't go." I froze. The sound seemed to come from the hallway, though no one was there. I told myself it was the wind, but the whisper repeated, louder this time, closer. I walked down the hall, flashlight in hand. The deeper I went, the colder it became. My breath hung in the air. The locker's shadows seemed to stretch toward me. Then I saw it, a classroom door slightly ajar, though all rooms were supposed to be sealed. Inside, the desks were untouched, papers scattered as if someone had been there recently. On the chalkboard, in neat handwriting, were the words, "I can see you." I stepped back, heart racing, and the door slammed shut by itself. The whispering returned, now all around me, coming from the walls, the floor, the ceiling. "Stay, stay with us." I ran, but the hallways seemed endless. Every turn I took led me back to the same classroom. The shadows shifted, forming vague humanoid shapes, moving silently toward me. Finally, I reached the main exit and threw the door open. Outside, the sun was setting, casting long shadows across the overgrown playground. I thought I was safe until I turned to look back. In the window of that cursed classroom, I saw dozens of pale faces, eyes wide, staring directly at me, mouths opening in silent screams. The whispers followed me all the way home that night. Even now, whenever I pass the abandoned school, I swear I hear soft footsteps behind me and a voice that always seems to whisper my name. I was a night shift nurse at the old St. Milligan Hospital. It was mostly empty. Most patients had been moved to newer facilities, but Ward 13 remained locked and abandoned after a mysterious outbreak decades ago. Staff always avoided it, whispering about strange happenings inside. One night, I was assigned to check the old wings for maintenance. The air was thick, cold, and smelled faintly of antiseptic and decay. My flashlight beam cut through the darkness as I passed rows of empty rooms. Then I heard it, a soft scratching coming from the end of the hall near the double doors labeled Ward 13. I froze. The sound wasn't like rats or wind. It was deliberate, slow, dragging across the floor. I hesitated but slowly pushed the doors open. The hinges screamed. Inside, the ward was frozen in time. Beds lined up neatly, medical equipment coated in dust, a faint greenish glow coming from broken ceiling lights. I stepped further in, my footsteps echoing. Then I saw movement. A pale figure crouched on one of the beds, rocking slowly back and forth. Its eyes were empty black voids, staring straight at me. Its lips moved, whispering words I couldn't understand. The doors slammed shut behind me. My flashlight flickered and died. In the darkness, I could hear dozens of whispers echoing from all directions. "Stay! Don't leave! Join us!" I ran, but the ward seemed to stretch endlessly. Each door I passed opened to the same room, beds occupied by pale, lifeless figures, all staring at me. Their whispers rose into a chorus. filling the hall with a sound that crawled under my skin. Finally, I reached the main corridor and slammed the exit door open. I bolted to the staff elevator, my heart pounding. When I looked back through the small window, the ward was empty again, except for the faint greenish glow from a single bed where a figure slowly turned its hollow eyes toward me. Even now, years later, I refused night shifts near the old St. Milligan Hospital, but sometimes, I swear, I can hear faint whispers, faint scratches, and the slow rocking of Ward 13 calling my name. It was almost midnight when Jamie pulled his old pickup into the only gas station for miles. The neon sign above the station buzzed and flickered, casting the parking lot in a sickly red glow. The place looked like it hadn't been renovated since the 70s. Dusty windows, peeling paint, and an ancient soda machine humming by the entrance. Jamie killed the engine. The night outside was too quiet. No crickets, no wind, just a heavy silence pressing against the world. He grabbed his wallet, stepped out, and felt the air thick and strangely warm, like the station was breathing. Inside, the fluorescent lights hummed. The aisles were lined with outdated snacks, all covered in a faint layer of dust. Behind the counter sat a man who looked too pale for comfort. His uniform shirt was clean but unnaturally crisp, like it had never been worn before tonight. The man smiled as Jamie approached. His teeth were just slightly too many, like they didn't quite fit inside his mouth. "Pump 3, Jamie muttered, sliding a bill across the counter. The attendant's hand was cold when it brushed his. "Of course," he said softly, voice carrying a strange echo that didn't belong in the small room. Jamie stepped back outside uneasy. The pump clicked on, and as he filled the tank, he noticed something. The other pumps had hoses dangling loose, their nozzles dripping thick, dark liquid. It wasn't gasoline. It was too viscous, too black, like oil mixed with blood. Then came the sound. From the far side of the lot, beyond the shadows, something was moving, slow, dragging footsteps. Not one pair, many. Jamie froze, nozzle still in hand, as pale figures began to emerge. They wore the same crisp uniforms as the attendant, their faces blank, their eyes sunk deep into shadow. Each one stared at him silently as they drifted closer. Panicked, Jamie dropped the nozzle and ran back into the station. The door slammed behind him, the lock clicking shut on its own. The attendant was still behind this counter, smiling that too-wide smile. "You filled up enough," he said. His voice sounded wrong now, layered, like more than one person was speaking through him. Jamie spun toward the windows. Outside, dozens of pale figures pressed against the glass, their hands leaving black smears as they dragged them down. Their mouths moved in unison, whispering something he couldn't quite hear, a sound like gas, hissing through old pipes. He turned back to the counter, but it was empty. The attendant was standing right behind him. "Last customer tonight," he whispered. The lights went out, and Jamie never made it back to his truck.